Hi, it's Paul from globaltradingsoftware.com. Today's video is short-term swing trading with stocks using the VWAP Predator and also the Guardian zone, so support and resistance zones really. It's very important to understand that day trading stocks can be feast and famine. So sometimes you can go flat. We're looking at Apple here. This is a day on the 30-minute time frame. Goes absolutely flat. There's no real trading opportunity. So those short-term swings, although they're not happening every day or every week, are probably a better type of strategy when a stock is stuck in a range. So I'm going to go back to the end of June 2023 and work all the way up to where we are right now, beginning of October. And this is the 30-minute time frame. And the thing that I'm looking at is the close of each day, and if I get a VWAP Predator signal on this 30-minute time frame, I'm going to understand where we are with the support and resistance zones. Is there any fresh air, and how to manage those trades? So first of all, two trades that didn't happen. So on this particular day here, towards the end of June, we were flat. At the end of the day, we had a buy signal in the last 30-minute session. Sensibly, our entry would be just above the resistance zone here. It gapped up above there, we didn't get in the trade. That happens, okay? The following day, we closed again at the high, okay? Again, the next day, we won an order on, stock market order, a couple of cents above there. It didn't take it in. That happens. Now, we go to the first trading opportunity. We get a massive gap down. So August 16th, massive gap down here. Then we go sideways, but then we get a VWAP sell signal in the last 30 minutes of the day. Now, gap, consolidation, then we almost close at the lows of the day. The VWAP gives us a signal when it crosses over VWAPs or its extensions, plus also more volume. So there was a good bit of volume going into the end there. The next thing to do is to understand where the next support is, and with the Guardian zones, this purple or pink or whatever you want to call it zone here is the 60-minute time zone. So this is the 60-minute support zone, okay? So our stop for this potential signal for the following day would be above the highs of the previous day. We then put an entry here, 176.36. The following day opens and we get into the trade. Now, the reason I took this trade is because there was over 1 to 2 risk reward down to that support, okay? And what we're looking for Monday, Tuesday or Wednesday is to look for those short-term swings. So carrying over a day, maybe 2 days, depending on how we close each day. So we got in this day, August 17th, took us into the trade. We're 1-to-1 for quite a long time, and this is where we closed. Now, at this situation, people don't like to carry them over, but I'm going to show you some examples where this actually does work out. So at this point here, we have to understand that if we are going to carry this trade over, there is a potential that this trade could gap up. You know, the momentum's down, but it could. So what we do the following day, we wait for the market to open, and then we make our trade risk-free by putting that trading stop just above the entry there. The next thing we need to understand is if it starts to, if it gap down in this situation, understand the behavior. It gap down, it starts to fill the gap. For me, as soon as it fills that gap and shows no sign, I take the profit, okay? Because it's closed the gap and it's going to come back, and as you see, it went sideways, and that stocks do that. So the thing for me is I gave it the chance, it gapped down, we got a nice little doji in that first 30 minutes, but then we started to move back up. And again, one of the correlations you're going to be looking at if you're going to be trading Apple with this is the S&P 500. Very, very close correlation here. So if the S&P starts to gather some momentum to the upside, and all the other 4 indexes do as well, there's a likelihood this gap's going to be filled. So once it starts to get towards that situation, take your profit on that trade. We're then going to move on quite a bit of time. Again, we do get sell signal here, but it's not the last half hour of the day. And this is this particular strategy with the VWAP Predator. We get one here. Why didn't we take the trade? The support just underneath here. Okay, so if we get the gap down, it's not got a long way to run until the support. So we're after fresh air. So the next signal that we get here, we get a buy signal in the last 30 minutes. Okay, this is on the 28th of August now. Get a buy signal. Now, this is where we learn to get the risk to reward right. So we're not going to go long into this resistance here. So this signal's great, okay, but then we want to make sure sensibly that our entry is above this resistance. So our stop is below the previous pivot before that last candle. We then work out the risk to reward to the next resistance zone, 1 to 1.6. If we're risking $1,000, potential profits $1,600, for example, 10,000, 16,000, so on and so forth. So in that situation, we've been sensible. We've not gone right off the bat with the first candle. We know we're going to go into resistance, and you can see here he did find a bit of resistance. We wait until he breaks through that resistance, then we're in. We've got a decent bit of fresh air to the next. We get to the end of the day, we're good. We're going to keep it in. Remember, we're looking for those swings. Once it starts to move away, make it risk-free. Bring your trading stop up. Okay. We then go into the close of the next day. The close of the next day gives us a buy signal. Okay, this is a Tuesday. We're not going to add some more because we're getting close to that resistance. So the next day when we open, again, we adjust that stop just below that pivot before the buy signal that particular day. So we go into Wednesday, okay? We are hitting that resistance zone now. And this should be your target, really. Whether just before the close here, or again, when that closes, we're looking at this low pivot from the previous day as our trailing stop position. Once it gets into your target, that's when to take that profit. So risk of $1,000 in theory for nearly $2,000 profit. And again, it's those risk to reward ratios you need to concentrate on. So again, we see the gap down on Friday and it comes back up again. But sorry, on the Friday here, we close out. We never take anything over the weekend. Following week, we get a buy signal at the close of the day. Okay, our entry sensibly is above that and that resistance zone. It came down, no trade. Yep. We then get a gap down here. There's no trade. There's no signal. We've got to be wait. We've got to be patient. We've got to be snipers. Coming into the close of this day, we get a sell signal in the close. Again, sensibly, our entry would be there, but I put crosses there because the fresh air to the next support zone isn't enough, so we ignore that signal. We then come in to a specific situation that doesn't happen very often, probably once a month, once a quarter, but these are very, very strong signals. So we come down at this point here and test this multi-time frame support. So it's the 30-minute, the 60-minute, and the daily at this point. You see all these different colours in there. The automated support and resistance zones from the Guardian zones here have given us some really, really strong support. It's bounced off, and then in that last 30 minutes we've increased in volume and we've got that buy signal. So in this situation only, when we've tested a resistance or tested a support, it's bounced off. We've got that signal in the last. I'm looking for the gap up, okay? Because we've got to look at the behavior. Testing support. So we even get more support zones being formed now because this is really strong support. 1, 2, triple bottom, yeah? So really strong support. So we don't usually enter just before the end of the session with these types of signals, only in this situation. So just before the close, you buy. Then you get the gap up the next day, And again, we've used that triple bottom and that understanding that when we get that buy signal, there's a really good possibility that's going to go. We get the long, goes long all the way up to this point here. Risk reward is 1 to 2 into that point at this point here. And you know, again, we can either decide to close at the close of that day, or we continue to move up. It pulls down, it comes back up, it tips this 60-minute resistance zone. That's your target time to get out. Use the support and resistance zones for your targets. Don't try and second guess if it's going to push through. Use the signals, use the support and resistance zones for the targets. Moving further along, we get a sell signal here. I'm not going to take it. Why? Because there's no risk reward if it does break through that support to the next one. Move along in time again, we get a long signal here. The long signal, it's good, we've got lots of fresh air. If we went here, if we went above the high of the day and this pivot here, this double top, the risk reward isn't good enough, so we wouldn't take it. It comes down anyway, okay? No more signals. And that's you know, that's July, August, September. So a few signals in there. But it's about being a sniper when we're trading. And these short-term swings are very, again, some of them last a day, 2 days, some of them last all week. But it's using those set of rules with a VWAP Predator, understanding behavior around those support and resistance zones, extremely incredible for this type of strategy. This is one stock, okay? You could pick 5 stocks and do the same strategy. It's really, really strong, but it's about following the rules, and hopefully those rules will come across in this video. Check out the links below. This is NinjaTrader, so VWAP for NinjaTrader, but it's also available for a lot of other platforms, but the Guardian zones, automated multiple time frame zones, are only available for NinjaTrader. Links all down below this video. Hopefully that helps. Speak to you really soon.